having a strategy around how you're bringing leads into your space outside of social media.
Welcome to Courage to be Visible, the podcast for heart-centered entrepreneurs who are done hiding in the shadows and ready to step into the spotlight. I'm your host, Andrea Stenberg. I'm a video marketing strategist and a big believer that showing up as your true self is your marketing superpower. I'm so pleased today to have Stephanie Treasure with us on the podcast. Stephanie is a marketing strategist and business coach, and she works with women coaches and helps them get past plateaus and hit 10K months using visibility, generating more leads, and increasing your conversion rate. So this is going to be a really interesting conversation. Stephanie, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Andrea. I am so excited and thrilled to be here. I love connecting with you. I love your community. And so this is going to be a treat for me, for sure. I hope that your listeners will get something from it as well, but I know it's a big treat for me.
Great. So why do you think visibility is so challenging, particularly for women coaches, women entrepreneurs, being visible online?
Yeah, there's so many layers to it, right? There is, a lot of, or part of it that comes up is putting ourselves out there, showing up on camera, talking about, people think that they have to get super personal and talking about all the things and thinking about, our ego gets into the mix as to how we're going to sound, how, are people going to think that we know what we're talking about, or that we're worthy, or that we're making sense, or will they buy the program, all the things. And then there is the business aspect of it in terms of, okay, particularly, how do I get visible? What kind of platform should I seek to be visible on? And does it mean just posting 4 times a day, every day on social media? And that's my visibility. And if so, then I think I'm doing that, but I'm not getting clients. And, so that the business part of it. And then how do you translate that or parlay that into actual paying clients? How does the 4 posts per day on social media lead to possibly 4 email inquiries per day and sales calls booked? And, that would be so wild if, all the posts that we did, worked out that way. But I think for people, once you get past the ego and just really plug into what you're doing, what your mission is about, because I believe that for all of us, especially women, it's not just that we are just doing this thing called business. It really is a mission for us. We're on mission. We're on purpose to help those people that we felt that we are appointed and gifted and talented or educated or certified to help with a specific issue that we sometimes or many times when we start a business, we've overcome that issue ourselves. Or it's an issue where you've studied this and you know how to get people over this barrier, over this obstacle, over their constraints, and to get to a place where that issue, that problem is no longer, and they're living, your clients are living more fulfilled lives. So it's really getting to a place where you show up from that place and with all authenticity, and knowing that the more you speak about these things, the more people that you would reach. And then, of course, there is the strategy aspect as to where to show up, how often should you aim for videos that are 10 minutes long or 20 minutes long. I know this is your wheelhouse, or should you do live streams, or should you do posts? Just really having a strategy around that and a plan for, okay, if this is how I'm showing up, if this is how I'm getting visible, what is my client journey, if you will, or what is the plan to convert those people that I reach through my visibility efforts into clients, or into, bring them into a journey that's going to take them from cold and, kind of warming up to you, to finding out about what you offer, and to be in a place where they're actually considering that offer and then jumping in.
Yeah, I love that. A lot to unpack there. So I really like what you said about, people have this sort of passion of what they want to do, because I really do think most of us who start businesses, we didn't start a business because I want to just make lots of money. It really is, we want to help people. And it is true that a lot of coaches, a lot of experts online, it's because I had a problem, I had to figure it out, I didn't get the help I wanted. Now that I've figured out how to solve the problem, I want to give other people the shortcut that I've figured out. So that's fabulous. So one of the things, like I know a lot of people really do feel like I have to post on 4 times a day and I have to be on everything. I think I know what your thoughts are on that, but what do you say to people who somebody says, I don't have time to be on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and all the new things? What do you tell people?
Yeah, that it's not necessary, right? You don't have to live on social media at all, whichever platform or platforms you choose. It's a great tool. Leveraging social media is a part of my strategy as well, but you can certainly carve out your cadence or your own strategy that works with how you feel your strength is. If you're a really good writer, that could look like these days writing on Substack, or it could be pitching to write on for online publications like Forbes or other well-known, online magazine type of publications these days, right? So it really is choosing that. And I believe that you can choose maybe 1 or 2 platforms on social media, the giants, whether it's Facebook and Instagram, or Facebook and TikTok, or Instagram and TikTok, or just LinkedIn, right? I do have clients who are only on LinkedIn that do really well. And depending on your niche too, right? Because there's certain niche types that work better for the respective platform. So if you are in career or HR consulting, LinkedIn is a great place to be, and that could be your only platform. And then so it's kind of narrowing down the platforms where you're showing up so that you are really able to give to and show up in that place where you feel that your people are, the place where you feel more comfortable and where you like to show up, and focusing on giving value there and networking with people there and engaging with people there, growing your following there. And then having a strategy around how you're bringing leads into your space outside of social media. So social media can be one way, but as I mentioned, you can either write for publications, or you can speak on virtual or real stages, or you can collaborate with other influencers or other experts in your niche who are also serving the kind of clients that you serve, but they're not offering the same kind of services. And you can leverage each other's platforms and each other's presence to reach more people. And also the tools that are out there these days to really leverage your time, where you could record and schedule YouTube videos out like 2-3 months, right? Have a batch recording day where you just, you know exactly the topics that you're going to do, what you're going to talk about, and say, okay, today I'm going to record 4 videos, and this is going to be scheduled out for the next 4 Thursdays in the upcoming month, right? So there's also that, and then that stays out there and reaches your people in a way where you don't have to be out there, on the street saying, hey, life coach here, who wants a life coach? You know what I mean? The platform is doing that for you, and you're able to schedule that content out to bring those people in.
And I really do think that's important to not just focus on the social media, do some other things, because, we should never put all our eggs in one basket. And so having other ways. And, I really like the idea of speaking or networking or things like that. And then use social media to sort of help stay in front of these people you've just met. But then the next thing is the generating leads. And I think this is a thing that a lot of entrepreneurs kind of skip over, because they feel like, okay, I'm getting visible, I'm getting people liking my stuff, I'm getting new followers. Why isn't my business growing? And it's like the getting the lead. So how does that work when you're working with coaches who have been a little bit plateaued?
Yeah. So quick reminder that the social media platforms are a way of also bringing leads on board, right? So you're able to reach, say, for instance, with even TikTok or with Instagram or LinkedIn, the way that posting works on those places where your audience who are already following you will see it, but based on their engagement of those content pieces, it can reach people who are not following you as well. And once they come across your content and they resonate with it, they can follow you, and they can also follow the link in your bio or the link in the post, and they can get into your funnel, opt in for your freebie or sign up for that next live training that you have anyway, right? So those are not to say that social media cannot also be a lead generation platform. It can, right? And especially if you're showing up consistently in the place where you've decided to show up. But there's so many other ways. One way that I like to do is to host online events and bring a bunch of my awesome experts and colleagues together. Again, people who share, their audiences, their ideal clients, share similar characteristics to the people that I want to reach as well. Okay. But I am serving them in one way, and my colleague or friend is serving them in another way. And we get together and we either host a summit. I'll host a summit and invite those experts, or I will host a panel discussion and invite them to join me. I'll go live with another colleague, say on Instagram. I've done a few of those as well. And that brings new people into my space because it's exposed to both of our profiles. So you can get really creative. There's strategies that are tried and true that work, like hosting the events. And there's also just creative endeavors that you can kind of sprinkle in throughout the year among the other things that you're doing, like one-off collaborations or interviews, or some way that you're partnering with other people in your world to just have a discussion, just to talk about relevant topics and issues to your clients in a way that they hear you in a different way, and they see you as somebody who's on the pulse of what's happening, and they want to stay plugged in, and they want to opt in and subscribe to, again, that freebie or that thing you have coming up, so that they don't miss out on a single thing you have to say going forward.
I love that idea of doing collaborations. And I mean, I've done collaborations with you as well. So I know how well that works. And I think that's a really overlooked strategy for a lot of people. And besides getting you in front of new audiences, I don't know about you, but I know I work from home, and sometimes it's just nice to be able to talk to some other people that are, kind of understand what I'm doing and do similar type work, even if we offer different services. It's really good for your mental health as well as your business health to do collaborations and work together with people.
Absolutely, because it really can get lonely behind the screen here. But, I just really love how these platforms, especially like we're on right now, can really bring people together. I've been a part of some amazing networking groups that I haven't met a single person in person. And it really just makes so much of a difference. It brings a light to your day. It reminds you that you're not alone. It gives you new ideas. It helps you just to widen your network. So many different things can come from it. So yeah, it's good when we can leverage these tools, these online tools, and connect with people from time to time, whenever you can't get out, that is. Because not to say that in-person networking is not a very strong way to meet people and to grow your network and find new people to collaborate with as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the other part of your bio that I really loved, I think is really important, particularly for women that are trying to level up and hit those 10K months, is increasing your conversion rate. Because, you can bring more and more people in, but if you could get more people that are already in your world to actually become a customer, that is really powerful. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So in some of the strategies that we're sharing here, we're leveraging social media, we're putting content out there, whether it's video content, written content, etc., and bringing people in all of those, those are all great ways to invite your audience to take that next step with you. And that next step, it doesn't mean that, hey, here's the link to my, my 3-month coaching program, go ahead and click it and buy. It really means inviting them to a conversation, getting to know them and what their problems are, and talking about really meaningfully how you can support them to solve it. And so you can get conversions by putting content out there on a regular basis and inviting people to say, hey, if you want to learn more, this is what I do. Click this link to book a clarity call or a breakthrough session with me, or a sales call, and let's talk some more about it, right? So that's one way to get conversions. But there's nothing better than, in my view, than live selling, being, sitting across from a real person and just talking about the work that you do, and as, against the problems that they have and how you can support them. And I feel like a great way to do that online and with the tools that we're talking about is through conversion events. And what I call a conversion event is having or hosting a workshop or masterclass or webinar or a multi-day event for your audience where you are talking about their problem, kind of taking them through the journey of getting that solved, showing them how other clients have gone through that journey with you and the success that they have, kind of pointing and painting the next step and painting the picture of what will happen once they get in your container and you work together, what's possible for them afterwards, the transformation that they'll have, how their life will change, how things will be better for them once that problem is solved. And so you get a chance to do this through masterclasses, webinars, workshops, where you've brought a lot of people together. They're spending time with you. They're hearing you talk about this journey, this process, this transformation, and is taking them more deep than your content ever will, and having them see what's possible and bringing them closer to that point where they'll convert, they're close to buying your program, or you're close to closing that sale. Usually after these events, I'll either lead people to a page to click and buy the program, if it's like a low ticket offer, a mid ticket offer, or I will lead them to booking a call to have a customized conversation outside of the one-to-many that I would have had in the conversion experience, invite them to an intimate conversation to really get into the depths of what their specific problem is and their specific pain points and what they want solved so that they can move on to that next phase of their lives. So I really love the power of, some people call it live selling or selling one-to-many, but just leveraging that group event. And people are doing that with live in-person events as well, conferences, seminars, multi-day events, to bring their people together, really have them get immersed in all to do with this issue, all that has to do with this transformation you have to offer, and then inviting them to take that next step.
I love that strategy because it gives people a chance to sort of experience you, but it also kind of, like posting online, doing all that, the visibility stuff is great, but eventually you have to actually talk to some human being.
Exactly, right? Because that's where the magic really happens. We all want, and in the business that we're in, that's necessary, right? Again, unless you're selling something that people can just visit a sales page, they get, the whole deal, all the breakdown, all the success stories, all the, what's under the hood, what's in the box type of thing. And they're like, yeah, I'm able to make a decision just from this sales page. But for the kind of work that we're doing when it comes to coaching, people really do want to have that talk. And if you think of any high ticket service that you've invested in, if you're hiring an attorney for a purchase, purchasing a home, or you're hiring an accountant, or you're hiring a new professional, medical professional for a specific issue that you have, you want to have that sit down to see if, it makes sense to move forward. You both want to do it because you're also assessing the client to see if this is somebody that you can help, if they'll be coachable, if you know that you can really help them, and they're assessing you to see this, find out the same kind of thing, if it really is a good match, because not everybody will be a good match to work together, right?
Yeah.
So I believe that the conversion event really sets the stage for that. And then, you can have phone calls on the back end of that as you bring them into your program.
Yeah, I love this because, like, you can't have a conversion event if you're not visible and you're not generating leads. You need to have those pieces as well. Like, they kind of all work together, kind of heads together. Like, you can't have one without the other two. So I love that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So if people are thinking, oh, this sounds really great. And so you said you help women get past their plateau, hit the 10K months, and they're thinking, yeah, you know what? I think I'm ready to do this. Where can people find out more about you, Stephanie?
Yeah, sure. You can visit me online. stephanietreasure.com website is going through a little phase right now, but stephanietreasure.com is a hub for that. On Facebook, you can find me at facebook.com/stephanietreasure. Or I think it's Stephanie.treasure. On Instagram, it's the Stephanie Treasure, and on LinkedIn, it's Stephanie Treasure. So I'm pretty, accessible and findable. If you do a Google search or if you look at me on those main platforms, you'll see me there. And also on youtube.com/Stephanie Treasure. And I do have a free offer that you may like. And this helps you with the visibility piece, which is what we led with here, which I know is a stuck point for many, but it really is, as you mentioned, they're all interwoven. And that first piece is that exposure, having people know who you are and that you actually are, this life coach or money coach, relationship coach, build awareness for your brand and what you're doing. So this item is called the Visibility Cheat Sheet to Getting Fully Booked, and it's actually an 11-page PDF. And in that, I share with you the reasons why visibility is important, how it will put you forward, how it will have you stand out and be findable by your people. I share with you kind of a checklist of the places where you want to optimize your presence. Say, for instance, one of the things I recommend is to optimize your presence is to use the featured feature of the respective platforms. So, on Facebook, you're able to have featured content, on LinkedIn, Instagram, etc., to put your, content that really talks about your work forward. If somebody has interviewed you like this, or if you have interviewed a client and spoken about their success stories, you can feature that as well, so that people see that main content, that key content first, as they indoctrinate themselves into the other pieces of content that you have and what you're sharing, and work themselves into your world. So I talk about that. I also give you a cadence to follow, what you can be doing weekly, monthly, and quarterly to stay visible, including things like speaking, at least having a speaking engagement at least once per quarter, speaking on summits, etc. And what else do I have in there? Yeah, I have and how to explode, a 3-part plan to explode your visibility. So if you haven't been visible or haven't been prioritizing it and kind of, been heads down, knee deep working with your client and kind of want to reemerge and have people know about what you're doing, or if you're just starting out, you can use that guide as well. So that's all in there for you in the cheat sheet. And I'm sure you should find it in a link somewhere on this page.
Yeah, I'll have the links in the show notes. And I can tell you, I've actually seen this guide. It is definitely really valuable. Definitely go and take a look at Stephanie's guide. Stephanie, this has been a fun conversation. I'm so glad you were able to join us. And everybody definitely go and get Stephanie's free guide. It is well worth your time. Thanks for listening to Courage to be Visible. I hope today's conversation sparked ideas for your own visibility. If it helped, please share this episode with a friend. Follow the show and leave a quick rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It really helps. For links, show notes, and free resources to grow your visibility, head over to the show notes or visit my website. See you next time.